gang, so this is week 3 of our habit change series. So hopefully up to now you've watched week 1 and week 2 and you've got some really good usable action points out of those, and you're already well on your way to applying those in your lifestyle and seeing some and feeling some tangible results. So today is going to be a bit hard hitting, okay? So if you're not up for hearing the truth, if you don't want me to tell you how it is, if you don't want me to kind of lay it on and make you understand why it's so important to act on this stuff now and not delay until the future that's not even defined yet. If you're not prepared for that, then this isn't the course for you. I hope that by now you recognize that this course is about being honest, being blunt, and taking action. And if you're not keen on the taking action part, then you're really going to get nothing out of this. So, don't worry about it. Just turn the video off, okay? But if you're ready for this, if you're ready to take back the control over your health, your energy, your confidence, your lifestyle, and your weight loss, if you are ready to take action today, then keep watching, because we've got a great episode for you today. Okay, so today's topic is learned helplessness, and you'll be forgiven for going, Nicola, what on earth are you talking about? I've never heard of this before. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what it is and how it applies to you, and how we can use the understanding of it to take action and basically get better results as we move forward. Okay, so learned helplessness is a behavioral model. And basically it's been tested on animals, and it's very evidential in humans too. It's basically a model where if you put a certain group of animals or humans in an environment where they learn that the outcome and the results that they want to achieve are not possible, they stop trying to achieve those results. So it's basically a strong and full belief that you cannot get the results that you want no matter what you try. Okay, and over time, over various different attempts and potential failures, if you want to call it that, the animals and the humans learn that they can't, or they learn the belief that they can't get what they want, so they stop trying to achieve it. So this is relevant because you can see this in our society. If you're the kind of person that's tried every diet going, and you've kind of gone round and round and round in circles, and in your own mind you've failed on those diets, you've learned over those period of times, those experiences, you've learned to be helpless. That is what the model is. You have, through the evidence that you have gleaned from your attempts, your own experiments, your conclusion that you have come to is that you can't get the results that you want. You've not got the weight loss that you want, or you've not maintained the weight loss that you wanted, and you've not gained the lifestyle that you want. So eventually you just stop trying, and even if you try again, you never really fully believe that you're ever going to get there. So you end up sabotaging yourself after a few days or after a few weeks, and you end up back to square one, or even worse, you end up further away than you were before you started. And learned helplessness is a difficult one to accept, because when you really think about it, it means that you have nothing else to blame. Okay, it really isn't the external circumstances that are affecting your ability to lose weight. You, in accepting this theory and accepting this model of behavior, are accepting that you are the reason that you are not where you want to be right now. And if you can do that, if you can find it within you to accept that and take responsibility for all the choices that you have made, all of the times that you've gone around in circles, even if it feels like external circumstances affected those choices, if you can take responsibility, if you can accept that you are the person who has the power, then you will accelerate 1,000 times faster than if you resist against that acceptance. Because if you keep looking to find excuses and reasons for why you're going around in circles, why you are stuck, then you will stay stuck. Okay, so that kind of acceptance of the responsibility, even though it feels difficult, even though it feels like it's not your fault, it wasn't, it wasn't anything to do with you, it's something happened in your life. So, someone said something, someone did something, you lost your job, someone, you had a bereavement or something like that. There's always something else to blame. But if in the learned helplessness modeling, accepting this idea that this is a real thing that explains why we are stuck, you are accepting the responsibility for your situation right now. And as hard as that is to hear, if you can do that, if you can be brave enough right now to do that, then you are going to leapfrog forward and start getting some fantastic results, okay? That responsibility is key in reaching the next stage of your recovery from these beliefs, okay? So fundamentally, where you are right now, or where you were before you started this course, you were in a position where you weren't broken enough to make the lifestyle changes that were necessary, to make those changes a priority. Okay, so what we often do is we mentally wait, or even physically wait, until we are in such a bad state that we have to change. We have to have a heart attack, or have to get diabetes, or we have to, have a near-death experience before we change the way we do things. And at the end of the day, your future's not guaranteed. We're living in this kind of cloud cuckoo land where we've got this belief that we can fix things in the future. Your future is not guaranteed. There is no guarantee that you're going to make it to the next minute, never mind tomorrow, never mind to the next year. So this kind of reliance on the future to fix the problems that you're creating for yourself now is kind of cloud cuckoo land. And I don't want you to leave this video today thinking that you can still fix things tomorrow, fix things next week, fix things next month. The time for action, the time for making changes, the time for committing to this is right now, okay? Right now is that time to change. And if you decide after today that today is not the day to change, then I know what's going to happen. You're going to continue in the patterns that you've been honing and developing and practicing over the last number of months, years, or decades. Okay, and I'm a product of those habits too. I do these things too. I'm saying these things to you because I've gone through this process of acceptance, denial, and recovery and denial, and more acceptance and more denial. So we've learned so many ways to kind of convince ourselves that we're okay, that we're not really that bothered about changing. We sedate ourselves with things like TV, Netflix, procrastination, alcohol, prescription drugs, social media, like scrolling. We sedate with food. That was my thing. I was an addicted binge eater. That was my sedation mechanism. That was my control mechanism. Online shopping, going shopping, buying loads of stuff. There are so many different ways that we can distract ourselves and temporarily make ourselves feel better in the face of our frustration, in the face of our confusion, in the face of our disappointment at not being the version of ourselves that we want to be. We can sedate ourselves and kind of bring ourselves up on a temporary high and convince ourselves, oh well, it doesn't matter. I didn't want to be slim or trim or fit or healthy or energized anyway. I didn't want my confidence back anyway. I'm happy with my net binge watching on Netflix. I'm happy with my binge eating. I'm happy just having a few bottles of wine a day. You convince yourself that that's all okay, because you convince yourself that you're okay with having those little highs and the lows, and we end up going like this, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And we kind of still have this idea that we're going to fix it one day, but today is not that day. Today is the day for wine. Today is the day to shove food in my face. Today is the day to just binge watch Netflix. And I'm not saying that these things are inherently bad or good. You know what I mean? Food is necessary. A glass of wine here and there is absolutely fine. Having a little Netflix binge on occasion is something that I enjoy too. But when you are using those things to hide from the truth, to hide from the reality of your situation, that you are not happy and that essentially you have given up. This model of learned helplessness means that your belief system is driving you to hide from the truth, because you, despite wanting things to be different, you inherently don't believe that they can be. You don't believe that you have what it takes to do it. You don't think that you can make those changes, so you choose not to. You decide to sedate and binge watch and binge eat and drink and kind of bring yourself up on these temporary highs, instead of making the slightly harder step that is changing your habits, okay? And that's ultimately, as you know, what this whole course is about. We're reaching the halfway stage now with these videos, but hopefully you feel that you're well on your way to making some good, strong habit changes in your lifestyle off the back of these videos and the support that you're receiving outside of this too. So my question to you right now is, when will you recognize that the time for change is right now? The power, as they say, is in these bad boys. In your hands, you have the power. You have knowledge, you've got my support, you've got the support of friends and family who would love it if you went to them and said, look, you know, I've been feeling this way, I've been feeling frustrated and going in circles, but the time to change is now. Would you help me? People love helping. I love helping, okay? If it's like crack to me. If someone comes to me and tells me the truth and asks me genuinely to help them, I will spend hours, days and weeks helping you to manage this. You know, to the best of my ability, I will help you if you are prepared to reach out and tell me that you are in this situation, that these beliefs are things that you recognize, that you're feeling that cycle, those going around in circles and sedating and having hope but not actually believing that you can get there. If you come to me and tell me that that's exactly how you feel, I will help you. I'll walk with you hand in hand and we'll move forward together, because I had to do this alone. I had to do this through watching videos like this but without any support, and reading books and blogs and listening to podcasts and kind of muddling through on my own. And I never felt that I could talk to anyone about it because I didn't understand that people wanted to help. I felt ashamed, I felt lost, I felt alone. And if I had just realized how many people in my life would have been willing and, you know, desperate to help me through this, then it would have made my life a lot easier, my recovery a lot faster. As it happened, I still made my own way. Maybe that was better for me. Maybe doing it on my own was better. But if you want to, if you're willing to, reach out to me and I will take those steps with you. I will walk with you along the journey. And let me get this clear. I'm not going to do it all for you, okay? That's not what this is about. I'm not gonna hold your hand all the way and tell you everything you've done. I'm not about the spoon feeding. But what I am about is honesty and hard work. If you're prepared to be honest with yourself and with me, and if you're prepared to do the hard work, then I will help you with that. That is my promise to you, okay? So what is essentially needed is some discipline. You know, whether it's a case of that you track things, monitor things, write things down, you know, we've got to work out what you need to keep yourself accountable, to apply the discipline that is needed to get the results that you want in your lifestyle. And that is going to be different from every single other person who is watching this video, and that's going to be different from me and my partner and my friends, okay? We all have different wants and needs. We all have different ideas about what our future wants should look like, and what the version of ourselves, that best version of ourselves, should look like. So we've got to work out that for each person as an individual, for you as an individual. But what I do know right now, and what you need to know right now, is that you have to do something. Up to now, you've had a fairly easy ride, and I say that knowing that you've had challenges, knowing that you've been faced with things that you wouldn't have chosen, and things that you know that you can't take back, and things that you can't do anything about. But you've been turning a blind eye to commitment, to responsibility. You know, you've got the knowledge, the support, you've got the know-how, and you have decided not to act, okay? There are thousands, if not millions, of studies, blogs, videos, podcasts. There is the information out there that you have chosen not to act on. And this is where it can hit a bit hard with regard to the responsibility, but this is where your commitment comes in force. If you are willing to commit to that, if you're willing to admit to that, first of all, that you've turned a blind eye to all of this, then you will leapfrog forward. Like I said before, you will leapfrog forward and you will be able to get instantaneous results. So with finally acknowledging what you want, you know, admitting to yourself what you want and admitting that it's different from what you have right now, committing, taking responsibility, recognizing that you know how to do it and deciding to act on it. That is how we move forward today. Just give me a quick drink. So the reason that you're struggling right now and going around in circles is because A, you decided not to act when you were given the choice to act, but you've practiced that. You've practiced not changing. You've almost in the same way that we learn any skill and in any environment, you know, for example, I learn Spanish and I learn the guitar. They're my two fun hobbies. And the process of learning those things is through repetition. You know, when I first started playing the guitar, I, you know, didn't know how to hold it. I didn't know where my fingers went. I didn't know what to do. You know, almost 2 years down the line, I'm not that much better than I was back then, but I can play a few tunes now, and I know what all the chords are now, and I can work things out. And it's through daily practice, daily reinforcement, that I've been able to do that. And this is how we unravel the learned helplessness model of behavior, because up to now, every time you've tried to do something, you've convinced yourself that it's been a failure. You know, in your mind, you've failed. I don't generally like to describe you as a failure, because I don't think that you are. I think that you're a fantastic human, and I think you've got amazing potential, and I do not think for one moment that you are a failure, but I think that you think that. I think that you think that you have failed. So that is why I'm using that language, because I want to make sure that you understand that I know how you feel. Okay, but every time that you give up on yourself, every time that you've made a promise to yourself and then that promise has kind of fallen by the wayside, every time that you've sabotaged yourself along the way, which is something that I'm incredibly familiar with, self-sabotage is my thing, my forte, and that's what I work so hard on myself on a daily basis. Still to this day, I still have habits and strategies in place to secure my confidence, to protect my energy, because I know that I'm incredibly susceptible to self-sabotage and to this belief that I can't have what I want. So I build that into my own support system for myself and for my clients and my members, because I recognize the value in that. So if, you know, at the end of the day, if we can learn something, we can unlearn it, okay? So if you've learned to be helpless, if you've learned through repetition and reinforcement over the last number of years or decades that you can't do something, or that you can't get where you want to be, all we have to do, and I say all, as making it sound like it's really easy, but it's not. It's simple. The idea is simple, but the actual reality is not easy, because unraveling years of habits is not an easy thing to do, which is why so many people are stuck in this situation. It's why so many people will never change. You know, there are people in this world, there are people watching this video right now, you might be one of them, who decide that changing is just too much goddamn effort, and that's, you know, as far as I'm concerned, that's not okay, but that might be okay for you. You might decide that you're okay with the life that you're living, and that's the end of it, really, and that, you know, you will go on with your life and I'll go on with mine, and that's fine. But if you are the kind of person like me who recognizes that there is more out there to experience, more out there to have, more out there to claim, that the life, the energy, the confidence, the experiences that you want to claim, that you want to take the control back over your choices and decisions, then we need to do the hard work on the simple concepts, okay? So we're not talking about complicated, convoluted things. We're talking about applying a simple idea and doing it day in, day out. And that's the hard bit, okay? Finding the consistency is the hard bit. And essentially unpicking the belief that you can't do it and replacing it with evidence and practice and reinforcement that you can, okay? And we're going to go into this more over the next few weeks with regard to the language that we're going to use, and the particular habits and the particular strategies and things that we can do in the lifestyle to reinforce this, to unravel the old belief system and create a whole new belief system. Because, like I said, if you've learned it one way, we can unlearn it, we can unravel it, we can pick it apart, and we can put it back together again in a way that serves you and serves the results that you want to see. Okay? So when you are within the sphere or the realm of learned helplessness, the general feeling is of apathy, depression. And I'm not diagnosing depression right now, it's not in my remit, and I never try to do that, but we've all used the word depression to describe feeling kind of sad, alone, you know, that kind of can't be bothered feeling, that kind of what's the point feeling, you know, the kind of I don't care that much anyway feeling. You know, we kind of use depression as an umbrella term to describe that kind of low and down and out feeling. And if you're not comfortable using depression to describe that, then you can pick your own verb. But that's kind of that apathy where we're just like, you know what, whatever, can't be bothered, what's the point, you know, it's just too hard, I didn't want it that much anyway. And it's that kind of toxic language, that kind of toxic belief system, that kind of toxic mindset that is driving your self-sabotaging behavior and the sedating behaviors. Okay, when you feel like that, when you feel low, down and out, when you feel sad or alone or frustrated or confused or angry, when you have any of these negative emotions, it's almost tempting, it's almost natural and habitual right now for you to do those things, to sedate yourself and make yourself feel better. You know, inherently you've learned that you don't like feeling that way, and you've learned that these things that I mentioned earlier, or the TV, the booze, the food, the shopping, the social media, you know, you've learned that these things give you that kind of like that little buzz, the boost up that you're kind of looking for. And what we need to do is find better ways of bringing ourselves up, you know, giving ourselves a more steady level of energy, so that we can go through life not going like this, but more like this. We still want to feel the highs, we still need the contrast, because without having sadness, how do we recognize happiness without the two things? We're human at the end of the day. We want the full spectrum of emotions, because that makes us human. The alternative is being a robot. I'm not talking about being a robot and having no emotions, but what I'm talking about is recognizing that your emotions are driving your behaviors. So if we can unpick that, if we can unravel the habits, and if we can stop existing in that sphere or that realm of learned helplessness, then we can start to move forward and start to claim back the control over our choices, decisions, and the results that we want to see. You know, the energy that is needed to drag yourself out of a state of learned helplessness is massive. So if you are in that state right now, if you are teetering on the edge of falling back into that state, I'm urging you to find the strength to stop yourself from falling off that cliff, to stop yourself from toppling over the edge. Because, you know, every time you quit, every time that you decide that you can't be bothered, that it's, you know, that you might as well throw the towel in and start again next year, then you're strengthening that belief, you're strengthening that belief system, you're strengthening your existence in learned helplessness. So I want you to ask yourself that question today: have you given up? Okay, and if you have, I'm still going to sit here and urge you to reach out to me and talk to me about it, because I do not believe for 1 second that you have truly given up. You would not be here right now listening to me, talking to you for half an hour, or for however long this has been going on for now. You would not be listening to this if you had fully given up. Okay, there is still hope for you, my friend, and I'm still going to be here ready to hear when you are ready to come and talk to me. Okay, but I need you to be honest with yourself and just admit it to yourself. You know, you might not be in a state right now where you're willing to come and talk to me about it, but just be honest with yourself. You know, changing anything, but changing your lifestyle and changing your habits, it's going to feel unfamiliar. it is going to feel uncomfortable. So we've got to kind of prepare ourselves for that. And I'm not going to allow you to enter into these changes with the wool pulled over your eyes, because at the end of the day, if I tell you it's going to be easy, and I know for a fact that it's not, if I tell you that and convince you to do it and you find it hard, you are more likely to topple back over the cliff into learned helplessness and give up again, and that will start to reinforce that learned helplessness cycle. I want you to walk with me into positivity, into faith and confidence, and into commitment and responsibility. So I need you to recognize today that change will be unfamiliar, it will feel odd and strange and weird and uncomfortable, and you are going to feel uncomfortable about the choices that you have to make. But we've got to do it. If you want those results, we have to do it. It's at the end of the day, it is easier to quit. Okay, I'll tell you right now, it's 100 times easier to quit, to fall off the wagon, to go around in circles, to carry on in the lifestyle, in the life that you're living right now. It's easier to carry on as you are. Okay, but what it isn't is what you want. Okay, I know that you're here because you want something different. You don't want to fall back into learned helplessness again and again and again, because you want something different. You still have hope. I know you do. Okay, so I'm asking you today, what are you going to do? What is your next step toward breaking free of learned helplessness, toward making the changes, getting out of your comfort zone? I want to know what your plan is, and I want to know what you're going to do so that we can take this next step forward together, and you and I can get those results that you've been looking for decades. Okay, so it doesn't matter how long you've been on your journey, whether it's weeks or days or months or decades, we can get those results. It just takes commitment to the simple ideas that I'm laying out week by week, to understanding this behavior, this system, this kind of lifestyle that we're leading, this mindset that we are in. Okay, if we understand that, we can start to unravel the bad habits, unravel the things that we've reinforced, and start to piece it all back together again and build something that gives you strength, that gives you energy, and that gives you confidence to move forward and claim the results that you want to get. Okay, that is all for today. Thanks for listening. I'll put some comments on the website to make sure that you've got some action points to take away from today as well, but just make sure that you do something today. Okay, that is your one instruction from the video. Do something. Take an action. Let's do this.